Are we more outcome focused than we are process focused? People want to be majestic things. They want to be superior things. They want to be great things. In a house, the Bible says there's vessels for honor and there's vessels for dishonor. There's vessels to use, fine goblets of fine materials, fine metals, gold cups, silver cups that are used to serve the guests. In the same house, there's large clay jars that carry water that you would use to flush the toilet. A vessel for honor, a vessel for dishonor. Some people get one type of test, some people get another type of test. Can we then say in that house that the clay jar that flushes the toilet is useful? Who wants to live in a house? Who's going to be able to flush the toilet with a gold cup? How many gold cups will it take? How many trips to the bathroom will you make to flush a toilet carrying a gold or silver glass? Something that small. How long will it take? That is an assignment that the clay jar, a large clay jar, can accomplish in one trip. The gold goblet cannot do that. But some people will despise the way that God is testing them because they're saying, why doesn't he test me that way? Why doesn't he give me a public ministry and then test me in the public ministry? Oh no, why is he giving that person that type of test? And why am I being tested in this type of way? And why am I going through this? And why is this happening to me? And why is it happening for so long? One of the things that the Lord said is that this year is going to be a year of disappointment for many people. This is a year that is going to extend the season for many people. This is what the Lord brought to us at the very beginning of the year, on the first or the second day of the year, 2025. The Lord said this is going to be a year of disappointment. This is going to be a year of going back to the start. This is a year where if it is found that your faith can't carry you, you will have to go back to the beginning. This is a year of checking your work. This is what God is saying. I'm going to check your work. I am going to check your work. And if your work is not found up to standard, you're going to have to do it again. This one, it's not by family ties. That's what God is saying. It doesn't mean that you're not my child if I check your work and you have to do it again. A lot of people, because of family ties, they cheat for their children, which produces horrible offspring. Honestly, nepotism is a cancer. Appointing your child to a position that they cannot handle simply because they are your child is a terrible way to raise your children. It's a terrible way to afford your children responsibility. Nepotism is a cancer. Favoritism is a cancer. Because what it means is you overlook a person's actual skills to afford them a position that they do not merit, a position that they don't deserve. What was said of Joseph is this. He said that what you did to me, you did it for evil. But the Lord used it to save many people alive. This is what he said. Joseph was toppled into a test. Joseph was toppled into a terrible situation. Joseph went from being a favorite child, a spoiled young man, somebody who was afforded the topmost position in his family, which he had not earned. At that time, he was the youngest child, but he was given oldest child privileges because of the favoritism of his father. He was singled out and had accomplished nothing. Why was he wearing the robe of a favored son? Who can tell? Why was he given a coat of many colors? He did no hard labor. He did not go to the field. He was not known for getting his hand dirty. The Bible says that he was a man of tent. He sat in the tent and he learned letters, mathematics, the teachings of Egypt, whatever it was that you could find in scrolls and books. That is how Joseph came up. What is it that Joseph had accomplished to earn him that position? Nothing. All it was a spiritual symbolism of the greatness that he would one day carry, but he had not yet matured into. He did not merit, he did not deserve such open, visible displays of that position at such a young age. It made his brothers riotous. It made his brothers upset. It turned his brothers into the catalyst that would eventually force him into the process It was in the process that Joseph became a man who deserved the position that he had been unfairly elevated to. His father didn't give him the coat because he dreamed a dream. The father gave him the coat simply because he loved him and he lifted that boy up in his heart too early. It was God who knocked Joseph down. It was God who sent Joseph back to the beginning. It was God who sent Joseph back to get all the materials that would one day make him a man worthy of wearing a coat like that. At a second time in his life, he was given a coat by Pharaoh. Pharaoh put royal robes on him, gave him a ring, gave him position, gave him a name. But at that time, even though Joseph was now being given a golden cup position, guess what? He had the ability of a clay jar. Are you hearing me? He was given a shiny new position, a shiny new title, a shiny new level, but he had the carrying capacity of a clay jar. He had the ability to be able to do shocking amounts of work and produce shocking outcomes as big as a clay jar, but decorated like a small gold vessel. A lot of people don't want to develop their internal capacity. They do not want to develop their internal listening ear to God. They do not want to humble themselves to the work of the clay jar. They simply want to be seated and become a golden goblet and sat on a table. To embarrass who? Who are you planning to embarrass without the process? Who are you planning to shame without the process? The process is necessary. Dynamic refinement. You have to be prepared for what it is that you think you want, or what it is that God has promised you that you're going to be, or what it is that you have dreamt. If you have a dream, write it down. If you have a calling, write it down. If you have a promise from God, write it down. If you have a prophetic message from God, write it down. But by no means assume that because God has given you those things, because God has given you a coat of many colors at the beginning of the process, by no means assume that you have been processed. You will know when you have been processed because your internal ability to carry water will be huge. You will be like a dam for many people. Rivers of living water will flow from your belly, but only when you are processed. The process is essential. Carrying capacity of a clay jar, external appearance of a golden cup. You have to have both. You have to have both. There's no escaping.